we're not mad enough yet. We're not angry enough. We're not pissed off enough yet. Have you seen people saying that? Have you found yourself saying that? I shared a post on Instagram last night and I picked the music. Actually, it was like 3 a.m. because I'm not sleeping much. I picked a song for the accompanying music, and the title of that song is "We're Not Mad Enough Yet." But I don't actually think that that's true. I don't think that that's true at all. We know that the most important emotions that help push us toward action in a resistance movement are a combination of anger and hope. We have to be mad enough to decide to stand up and take action to overcome that inertia, to overcome our fears, right? We have to have enough hope to believe that the actions that we take can enact change. Anger and hope, vital combination. And I get why myself and so many other people have been saying that we're not angry enough yet. But I've really been wondering whether or not that is actually true. And then this morning I saw this creator's video.
The notion that people are not angry enough with the things happening in the world, because for me personally, I don't think it's a lack of anger that is playing out or that is happening. I think it has more to do with the way that we learn to relate to our emotions, especially our anger.
One thing I've noticed is people are always saying people aren't angry enough, but I don't think that's what's happening. I think that we have been taught that anger is only real when it looks a certain way. Loud, visible, confrontational, protesting, or fighting. But anger does not always look like shouting or the other ways that I mentioned. Sometimes it's you taking the fuel from that anger and pouring it into things like your art, writing music, building something better, having difficult conversation, protecting your peace, refusing to participate in something that harms you. One of the biggest reasons why we keep misunderstanding each other is because we keep expecting difference to look familiar. We expect people to feel the way that we feel, the way that we would feel it. Grieve the way that we grieve, love the way that we love, fight the way that we fight. When they don't, we just assume that they don't care.
Kiara is totally 100,000,000% correct. I am going to stop saying that we're not mad enough yet, that we're not angry enough yet. I think a lot of us are enraged. We're full of grief and anger. We're deeply sad, profoundly sad at injustice, at the harm that is being done, at the inhumanity that is on full display in this country. And Curie makes such a good point about how it's really about how we're perceiving other people's behavior through our own expectations. We all are feeling our feelings, but we don't all display them in the same way. Different subcultural, cultural nuances and understandings and ways we've been enculturated to express our emotions are all at play. And just like you can't read what's in the mind of somebody else, I think oftentimes we can't read what their feelings are based on their behavior, because we all feel the same range of emotions, but it manifests differently depending on your background, depending on your own lived experience, depending on your own trauma, your own baggage, depending on how you are choosing to funnel that anger.
We decide that there's only one right way to express an emotion, we stop recognizing all the other ways it's already showing up. Which is why so many people feel unseen, because we're measuring their expression instead of paying attention to what they actually are feeling. People carry the same emotions in different ways. So the question isn't whether they're feeling it, but whether we've learned to recognize it.
And I guess I want to say here that one of the things that's frustrated me so much over the last year and a half is how many creators get a huge platform because they are angry white men. Angry men displaying their anger, and it is sincere anger over injustice, over the inhumanity of MAGA. They're displaying it in a way that is culturally understood as like this is the way white men display anger, a way that is scary to pretty much everybody else, right? And it is an expected, like we understand that, right? We're used to seeing anger manifest in that way through the dominant demographic in our culture. But for many other people, anger looks different. It looks different. And a lot of folks have been taught that their anger can serve a purpose. Their anger is not about impotent rage, right? And, I've said for a long time, I think one of the biggest disservices that the patriarchy does to men is that it teaches them that the only acceptable emotions for them to feel are lust and rage. And when they are full of other emotions, they don't necessarily know how to express them in a healthy way, how to work through them. And even the emotions that they are allowed to feel, they don't know how to channel them into productive behavior, into healing, into making a better world, right? It is that impotent expression of outrage shaking our tiny fist. And I just loved that Curie and the creator that she stitched at the beginning. We're talking about how for a lot of people, anger is what prompts them to act, to decide to not be like MAGA, to not be like Stephen Miller, to not be like ICE agents, but instead to embrace our humanity. People manifest their anger through a decision to do something different than the injustice that they are angry at. They take their anger and they channel it into fighting injustice, into caring for their neighbors, into their activism, into their organizing work. And likewise, artists, or not just artists, and any of us, everybody's creative. Creative people often take their anger and they use that to help them make beautiful things, right? To take that anger and to put it into art, express their anger through their creativity, through their art, through their music, what have you. One of the things that I'm often doing in my videos, and I'm not right now because it's really hot out, but I'm often knitting, and I'm often knitting very, very fast in my videos. And a lot of that is me having a physical outlet for my anger and my anxiety so that I can get it to a level where it is not overwhelming me such that I can't take action in other ways. I guess I just want to encourage all of us, especially myself, like this is a lesson for me too. Let's not presume what other people are feeling. Let's not presume that they aren't sufficiently outraged by injustice just because the work that they're doing doesn't look how you think it should look. Just because they're not out smashing shit in the streets. And just like, like for me, I'm always saying, why aren't we doing a general strike? I think that anger should prompt us to do labor organizing, should prompt us to have labor disruptions, economic disruptions, but that doesn't mean that's how everybody else chooses to use their anger to try to fight fascism. So yeah, I guess it is a good lesson for me to not presume, but to ask people, like, how are you feeling? What if we just ask people, like, how are you feeling in the midst of all of this? And what does it look like to feel those feelings? How are you using those feelings to help you get through this time and to help this whole country get through this time? What does it look like to have constructive anger, to have constructive hope that prompts you to do something about our circumstances and to create change? I put out a poll asking people what they wanted me to talk about, and I got a lot of people asking me to elevate social permaculture more, which is how we apply the permaculture principles to our communication, to the way that we structure human society so that we can have relationships that are healthy. We can heal from our past trauma. As we are healing the planet, we are also able to heal community and heal our connections with each other. And that's all about skillfulness, right? You have to build skills. Most of us have not been taught how to feel and express our emotions, to even understand what emotions we are feeling, to then feel them in a healthy way and then express them in a healthy way. Likewise, most of us have not been taught the skills for communication. I'm very bad at communicating online. I'm much better at it in person. I understand that this is like a growth area for me as well. So social permaculture asks us to think about our communication, to think about the way that we form communities and governance and organize human society in a way that aligns with the permaculture principles and also those three ethics of earth care, people care, and fair share. And I think I'm a perennially optimistic person. I was raised in a very pessimistic, very angry, pessimistic family, but I have always tried to be I couldn't do permaculture, you guys, and believe that we can build a just society while we regenerate all of the ecological devastation humans have wrought, if I weren't perennially, spitefully optimistic. But I find over the last year and a half, I fall into like snark or judgment or criticism far more easily than I did before. I no longer presume the best about people, and I want to stop doing that. I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I want to help all of us be able to do that good work of trying to dig us out of fascism and trying to build a better world. And I think that one of the ways that starts for me is to really stop assuming that I know what other people are feeling and what other work people are doing. I want to be more inquisitive. I want to ask people. That's a way to connect. It's also a way to build empathy and understanding. So I want to presume less and ask more. Thanks for letting me ramble about this. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe, and I'll be back really soon. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about this subject, about anger and hope, and how you're utilizing them in this difficult, very, very difficult time.